Hello, everybody.
Hi everyone and welcome back to another YouTube video.
We have to pick a topic. Shane, you doing?
I have the honors of picking the topic. Okay, let's see what the topic for today is. So, the question is, how is transportation in Toronto? And I guess by how is transportation, I guess we're talking about the types of transportation they have um, and so on. So, first of all, in Toronto, we have multiple types of transportation. There is bus,
TTC.
there is the streetcar, and there is trains. There are trains actually, so there are trains. And so for the bus system, it's very in most cases the bus system um, in Toronto is a very easy bus system. Basically, there are bus stops all over the place. In some cases, depending on where you live, you may have to walk a little bit to get to the bus stop. Some people are lucky enough that it's not too far from their house. Some people just walk out the door and the bus stops right there. And then the TTC. So I remember when I first came to Canada, which was like we used to be in Canada like way before. When I say first come to Canada, I mean first moved here permanently, because we used to actually live in Canada when we were younger. I was 9 years old when I was around 5 years old, and we lived here for about 2 years when my mom was in Canada in college. So we've always had some type of experience where um, Toronto is concerned. We've always been here, and but in terms of the culture shock for me, I wouldn't really say it's a culture shock, but I would say that in Barbados, when the bus is coming, you could put out your hand for the bus. If you don't put out your hand, then the bus is gonna zoom right past you. But in Toronto, you just stand up by the bus stop. As long as you stand up there, the buses will automatically stop you. So you don't literally have to put out your hand. And I think I remember one time I wanted to put out my hand, but after watching, and the thing is, most people are at the bus stops, so you kind of get the hang of it.
Right.
But yeah, regardless, the bus will come to you and stop. So there's no need to be like putting out your hand. And well, inside the bus, when you want to get off the bus, you press. There's something like a string. I would call it a string, but
like a
card. There's like a card that's a bell. You can either pull it, and then on the parts where you hold on, there's also bells that you could press. They're all accessible because there's some people who have disabilities and they're in wheelchairs and they need to be able to access the bells as well. So it's there for everybody to pull or hold on to and press it or whatever. You want to say something?
Yeah, I could say something too. Another thing that would kind of confuse you, and it is a culture shock as well, is knowing your cardinal points. I mean, yes, we were taught that in school. So like the north, south, east, and west. People back home would say, "You going right." Then left by the cardinal. Nowadays, people say you are going heading to south, or you're going to South Front Street, or you're going to north to back to Queen Street. So like you gotta know the little points. I mean, to be honest with you, I still don't know it. I just pretend to the people.
It's how Tony jumped from talking about a the bus to the cardinal points, but she definitely has a point there as well. That's something that is definitely something we're not used to at all. And even now, when people tell me east or you're going, so when you get off the bus, go east or go, I'm like, go what? Please tell me left or right. I can work with left or right.
Yeah.
So that up to this day, I'm still like that. That's the truth.
Yeah.
But
sorry, but I had to put that in there. So you go on to now talking about getting to the train station.
Yeah. So basically for the bus, that's basically how it is. You don't have to say bus driver.
Driver.
Put me off there by the car. No, you ain't got to do none of that because you just press the bell. And the good thing I like about the buses, they have the system. There's something else that they don't have in Barbados, where you can actually see the bus stops. They call out the bus stops, and I love this.
Yeah.
Because in Barbados, if you don't know where you're going, like you can go ask the conductor or somebody.
And that's another thing. There are no conductors either.
Yeah, there are no conductors, correct. But if you don't know, you can go ask somebody. But at least here, where you like, even if you don't know where you're going, you know that you look at the maps. You say, okay, the second last stop is Islington or whatever, and then you say, okay, I'm getting off at the next stop at Rogers, whatever. Just calling out names. You know that you're gonna hear it on the thing and you're gonna see it, so you know the next stop is my stop. You can't miss your stops at all.
Right.
That is a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point for real. But also too, another thing that back home has, and I'm now speaking now about Caribbean, because even though Barbados has like a transport board system, other Caribbean islands don't have it. Because I went to Dominica, they had like these small little taxi vans. We call them minivans back home. There are no minivans up here, and you can't see. As Shanita would have said, driver put me off there or whatever. Ain't nothing so. I mean, you're gonna miss the culture of the music in the van and all of that. We don't have that here. You can't ever really play music that sort of way on the bus, because it's
like a distraction.
It's like a distraction.
It's mannerly to put on your earphones. They do have some people that will play music loud, but it's just kind of like a little annoying.
Yeah.
Because it's like everybody kind of be like doing their own thing, and then you have somebody playing music loud. It becomes like a distraction. But
yeah. The most you will hear on the actual buses out here is people talking. Right. Is it chatter?
Yeah.
Right.
And having low conversations on the phone. That's basically.
Yeah.
So moving on now to the streetcar.
Right.
I used to take the streetcar, but not as much, because you will find the streetcar is more so downtown Toronto.
Right.
So you would mostly have. I mean, they have them around here too.
No.
But not. Yeah, newly. Like they now came, but you would not find them like close to me.
Right.
So even to get to the streetcar, it would be like a good ways up. But downtown, they're like everywhere as well and stuff. And so for the streetcar, what you do basically, the streetcar comes up. The traffic actually has to stop, because there's a sign on the streetcar that says to stop. Like when the streetcar stops, no car is supposed to pass. And I've seen vehicles. The streetcar stops and then they zoom past, and it's very, very dangerous, because when the streetcar stops, this is the chance for the passengers to come off or come on, and they have to cross the road in order to get to the sidewalk or to get to the part to walk. So whenever a streetcar stops, you have to wait until the passengers go on or come off. That's just how it goes. And basically, you will get into the streetcar, and it's similar to the bus.
So. But like the differences between the bus and the streetcar. So the streetcar actually has tracks. So the tracks are on the road, and then the difference is with the train is underground. But these streetcars are on the actual street, but they have tracks. So what happens is when you're on the bus literally puts you off on the sidewalk.
Right.
But when you are on the streetcar, because the tracks are literally in the middle of the road, you have to now get off to walk across the road. Right? Because it isn't like a case that they drop you off the same, or they could go close. So that's why the cars have to stop, because there's a whole lane that is now available for the passengers to get out of to cross. Right.
That's a good point.
So I actually love the streetcar. I did a bit of traveling around and stuff on the streetcar, and the ride is not like bumpy or whatever. It's just like one track. But rather than the bus, there's be a little wobbly, dropping in potholes. You know what I mean? So
and the streetcar actually has the top of the streetcar actually operates operates from the what do you call that now?
Electricity thing?
No,
or zip plane. You don't want to use that.
Not zip plane. What do we call the part up top, the black electric lanes?
Electric line. Okay. I know
I
what you
can't
mean.
remember the name of it. We call it home. For some reason, it's not coming to me. But the streetcar operates from on top of there in order to get electricity because it goes via electricity. So it gets the top of it. It literally you can see it when it's moving. You can see it from the top as well coming through. But I wish I could remember the name of
The line.
the power line. We call it back home. We call it power line. It's the power line that we call it back home. I don't know what to call it up here, but anyway, I call it the electric line.
Right.
So
Then we will move on now to the trains. So by the way, both the train, and the streetcar belongs to the transportation company TTC.
TTC stands for.
What TTC? Toronto Transit. Well, what did
I believe it's commissioner or something.
Commissioner Corporation something. But yeah, so we go down now to the train. So the train is actually underground. So the station is like just a normal train station. You just pay with your. Oh, we forgot to talk about the Presto card. But you pay with the Presto card, and the good thing is with Canada versus back home, let me see you catch your bus at 1 o'clock. Your transfer is valid for 2 hours, right? The Presto card as well, the same thing is 2 hours. So if I get on the bus and then go to the train station, it wouldn't charge me now to go in the train station. So that's another thing.
So before you move on about the train, so way before they used to use it used to be money that you could put inside. So the way the bus is set up, the same thing for the streetcar is that you would drop your money in a little box they had, and that was the money box. The driver does not take your money by hand, so you can't really come with a. Back then, you couldn't come with a bill.
Right.
Like if you had a $10 bill, you would have to put it inside. Some drivers may be manually and tell you just go with it because it's not $10. The fare would be about two something. But if you come with a bill, because you have to pay, you have to recognize that you would have had to put that bill inside the box, and they're not taking it, so they can't make change for you.
Right.
So you would just have to put it inside it and then go on your way. Whatever they would give you a transfer. A transfer was actually like a piece of paper that stated like the information from when you were on the bus, and then you would take that, and when you're ready to get on another bus, you would just show them the transfer. As Tony said, there was a time limit to it, and you would use that until the time limit was over, and then you would have to pay for bus fare again.
Yeah.
But after the money situation, I think they started to get a little issues with the money too and stuff. Then they introduced the tokens. So what you would do is go to the nearest 7-Eleven, or you could go to the train station, or wherever you would buy tokens. And these tokens were like an alternative to the money. You would buy these tokens and you would just put in a token. So that token represented your fare, and basically it was also a good way of not like having to worry about changing money if you only had bills and so on and so forth. And for a very long time they were using tokens. Then they finally got rid of the tokens and the money, and now
you could still pay money. You can still pay money on the bus, and they still give you transfers, but there are no more tokens.
Okay, but I don't know about the paying money part because I don't even recognize the box there anymore. But most people now they've encouraged everybody to use the Presto card. So the Presto card is basically like an actual card, like an ID card, but it doesn't have a picture or anything. It just has the word Presto on it, and you can actually fill money on that Presto card online at the Presto website, which is www.prestos.ca, think like that, or prestocard.ca. You can put on whatever amount of money you want to put on that Presto card, or you can actually fill it up at the any train station has a part that you can fill up money on your Presto card as well. I just want to get that in there.
Also, you can download it. The download is something new as well, and you could actually
pay on your
phone now, right? So going back to the trains, right? So the trains are easy to understand once, as I said, you know your east and west. But the good thing is they show you a map like where you are, and then it will either tell you eastbound to Kennedy or westbound to Kipling. And then there's going to be like a little small red arrow that will tell you you are here, meaning which station you are at, right? So you really can't get lost per se, because it's not like there's some countries that have about 6 or 10 trains going one way and 10 going back, and you don't know which one is which. So it's basically two from in Toronto, for the Toronto standpoint or whatever. But as I said, you have a mouth, ask questions, um, ask persons how can I get to here, how can I get to there, and they will guide you. They're very nice people. Canadians are very nice. Everybody is nice, so they will help you and stuff like that.
So, as Tony was saying, Canadians are very nice people. That's one thing I have to say. If you're lost anywhere, they will tell you. If they know, they will tell you. And if they can't help you, they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't help you." Blah, blah. But in terms of the train station, Tony was saying that it's easy. I wouldn't say that because I've been living here for a long time. Before that, I was traveling here for a long time, and it can still even be confusing for me even now. What I would say the easiest way to understand for me that I use. So when you're at the train station, um, and you go downstairs, there's always on the wall it states where you are. So if you're at Kipling, if you're at let's say for example you're at Jane Station, and then you're going towards Kipling, they always say the end of the road. Like they always say the end of the lane, because each area have a different lane, and the lanes have a different color. There's the yellow lane, there's the green lane, there's the purple lane, there's the another lane, the blue lane. So there are different lanes and different connections. For example, you could go from the green lane to the yellow lane if you get off at St. George
or Spadina or Yonge Street.
Right. And then you could go from the yellow lane to the blue lane or whatever. Like, there are different connections. You have to know how to do it, because when you're getting off at St. George, you have to go upstairs to get to the yellow lane. If you're on the yellow lane, you have to go downstairs. So most of the time, people are doing it too. So you just kind of follow the crowd too at the same time. But in terms of when you are trying, let's say you're on the green lane, there's one side going this way, there's the other side going the opposite way. Let's say you know that you're getting off on the side that is going to Kipling, or the end of the road is Kipling, then you follow the train that is going there, because it could be quite confusing, especially when you have, for example, I'm trying to remember one, but there's some stations where you have a train over here and you have a train over here.
St. George. St. George got it.
Yeah, but I don't want to say St. George, because St. George is like the most confusing one is St. George, in my opinion. But there are some train stations where on the left side you have a train. Actually, majority of them are like that. Mm-hmm. The left side you have a train, and the right side you have a train, and they're going opposite directions. You have to know the directions you're going. But the good thing about it is that they actually have the end of the lane, like I said. So let's say you're going to York University or something, or you're going to York, you can see the end of the lane, and you know that this train is going towards York, even if you're not getting off at York. You know, and if you're going to Union, you know that you might not be getting off at Union, be getting off at King Street or whatever, but you know that the train is going towards Union, and King is going to be on the same lane as Union. So it might sound a bit confusing, but you find
by the time you get it,
yeah, you find ways of getting it for yourself,
right?
Because everybody's different and they understand differently.
Yeah.
So what works for me might not work for her, but you find your own way of understanding it.
Like for me, what I had said, wasn't even thinking about the part of changing lanes, but I mean in terms of like when you continuously doing something for a number of years or whatever, because we have been traveling on TTC for a while, and as Shanita said, sometimes you do realize you would like sometimes realize that you're going backwards when you're supposed to be going forwards. You gotta get out the train to catch the other train, things like that. But as Shanita said, it takes time. We were here for a very long time. We were coming here for a very long time. So now we somewhat know what to do, but for the average person who's fairly new to the country
It
or
will be
whatever, it's gonna be a
confusing.
bit confusing.
But you always ask if you don't
Yeah.
know, because they have the sign there
Yeah.
where like Tony was saying, the sign is there with all the train stops, and it says you are here, and then it has, they have it blacked out if you're going there, and if you have passed it, they have it colored in. But it could still be very confusing, and if you don't understand, the easiest thing to do is always ask a question. Somebody will tell you
Somebody will
where
tell
to
you.
go.
Yeah, that's why sometimes like even like if your smartphone does not have data, try to write down where you're going. Make sure you get all these steps correct, because a simple wrong turn or like if you let me see you going to the train station, you taking the train from Jane, let's say to let me see Chester station. You get off at Chester, go up the stairs to go and catch the bus, and then you catch the wrong bus. So you gotta know the numbers to the bus. That's another confusing thing too, right?
The numbers of the bus.
The numbers on the bus too, because some people might got 36A, 36B, 35B, 935. And then those express buses do not stop all places too. So all those things you have to make sure you write down and have it down pat. Because if you don't have it down pat, especially if you don't know where you're going, you in guts.
But Toronto is a huge place.
Yeah.
And the best thing to do would be to have your GPS. But even with the GPS, because even me personally, even when I have my GPS, sometimes I still find it confusing. Even when I'm walking, I might find it confusing too. And then I stop and ask a question. Like I said, best thing to do is to ask questions, because even sometimes you get confused even looking at the GPS. The buses now, it'll tell you where to go, like which bus to take and stuff like that. But nothing beats asking, just to be sure. So then there's the TTC, like we said, we mentioned the buses, we mentioned the streetcar, we mentioned the train, and then of course that's for Toronto. If you want to go further out now into Ontario, there are different parts of Ontario. You can catch the via train, the via rail. You can catch the GO bus, the GO train. And
the up sometimes.
The up
will take you to the airport, Pearson's.
Right. So some of these same trains and stuff, they'll take you far out, 4 hours away. They'll take you 3 hours away, 5 hours away, depending on where you're going. If you're going to Montreal, if you want to go a little closer to Barrie, if you want to go to Niagara Falls, whichever one. So these buses and trains take you further out.
Yeah.
In terms of buses now, there's the Greyhound. The Greyhound buses.
That's mostly like for long distances.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But maybe we should talk about like when we go out of Toronto and going like to like let me say Brampton, Mississauga, they have their own train lines or whatever, because you call it now the Greater Toronto area. So they will have their own transit lines, is what I was trying to say. And then like if you're coming from TTC to let me say Mississauga, you gotta pay like a different fare. But that has no change. So the bus fare that is most, you pay for that one, and then when you transfer to the other line, you won't have to pay, because this is something new that went on I think from last year. But before, you had to pay a separate bus fare. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of ways to get around. Like I said, Canada is very large. Let's talk about if you're going to a different province altogether. I'm talking about Canada as a whole country. Is huge. Canada is the second largest country in the world. So alone, Canada is huge. And if you're going to another province, people tend to take the plane to get where they need to get, but they can also drive there. There's also trains and buses that go to other provinces as well. Then within the Ontario area, there's a lot of buses and trains that go within the Ontario area as well. That's outside of Toronto, but within Ontario. And then within Toronto itself is humongous as well. So there's a lot of different buses and trains and stuff that you take to go. Like for example, if you're going from here to Brampton itself has their own buses.
Right.
Mississauga, I don't know. I think Mississauga have their
Yeah,
own
they have
buses
their
as
own
well.
too.
So every city seems to have their own thing going on.
Yeah.
But if you're in Toronto like us, then you will use the TTC, and we give you that information already. So.
Yeah. So thank you guys for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.
And have a great day. Bye.
Bye bye.